welcome back to Dark Fae Tarot. You are joining me on the end of it's a really lovely evening in Brussels. It started off cold today, but it's bright and it's sunny at least now. So welcome to new subscribers and welcome back to those who already know me. And yeah, good to have you all here. So yes, I'm going to jump straight into it because it is a bit of an impromptu video. I received a deck on Saturday. I did buy it with my own money, but I received it in the post on Saturday. It took ages. It comes from Salon de Zagana in France. It's a boutique, and I ordered it from there. And but it took ages to arrive. Our postal services is completely nuts right now. No idea what's going on. But when it arrived, I'd already come home from my run. And I meant having to go all the way back out again just to get the parcel. And I was like, no, I really want to get it. So I did. And I opened it that evening. And I played with it a little bit with a few decks. And it was just an amazing deck. And and the pairings that came up. And all the decks that I'm about to show, I absolutely love. I mean, there's no favorites in a way. Well, there is a favorite in there actually. But you know, I absolutely loved them, and I was so excited to play with them, and I just thought I have to do a video on this. So yeah, you're joining me on the end. It's sunset here, but I'm going to dive in, and hopefully you enjoy this as much as I've enjoyed discovering these decks. This is not a review because obviously I haven't worked with these pairings enough. I have had some of these decks though for some time. So standalone, a couple of these I know very, very well, and I could do in-depth reviews. Maybe I should on those ones. But this pairing stuff is all very new, and I just want to get into it. So yeah, I live in the middle of, so just a little bit for those who don't know me, I live in the middle of a city. I live in Brussels, and I live literally about 1,500 meters from the European Parliament, so that gives you a good idea of where I am. And I have been in Brussels for nearly 20 years of my life. So my access to forests and woodlands is what we get when we get out into the suburbs, and that's not very far off from here. And then we have the beautiful Belgian countryside, both towards the north, and when we go towards, the polders and that kind of area, it's absolutely stunning Flemish countryside. And if we go towards the south, then we go towards Liège, and of course then we're heading towards Luxembourg, and the French and the German border basically meets us, and again, it's beautiful countryside. But these are decks that they give me a feel for the country, which I sorely miss living in the middle of a city. And so, yeah, even though I don't have a cottage lifestyle, these decks are just absolutely beautiful, and I'm so grateful I have them. So, I want to start off by saying that I really, really love having these decks in the sense that I just feel like, yeah, I have this immense gratitude, I guess. So yeah, so with that introduction, let me just jump in now to the deck that I bought and opened on Saturday, which kind of like started off the idea of this video, which is the Coastal Curiosities deck. And this is by Lennox Reese, who goes by the name of, I think, if I get this right on her handle, Hello Ivy Lee. But her full name is Lennox Reese. And this is an independent published deck. I bought all these myself, by the way. It's an indie deck, and this is the second edition that I have. Now, I originally, when I heard the name, I was like, I'm not a sea or an ocean person. I'm like, whenever I've been at the sea or the ocean, I'm like, it's beautiful while I stand on the land. I've jumped out of planes doing dives, but I'm not an ocean girl. And but the interesting thing is that when I saw this deck in a couple of other walkthroughs and stuff, I realized that this has got much more depth than what I initially thought, and I was sold. So it comes with a little guidebook, which I have to say is very, very good. This is the front of the guidebook. It is a very well-made guidebook. I'm going to go into that in a moment. And these are the cards. So just going to quickly just take you through the deck in terms of the cards themselves, so you get an idea of this beautiful, stunning collage work. There is a blend of cottage, I think, with the seaside, which is why this video is called Cottage style decks. I feel that there are soft colors. These colors, there's a vibrancy, so I don't think that pastel-y, there's a vibrancy to them, but it's still muted. And the collage work I found in this deck to be very, very distinct. I love the keywords. I'm somebody that doesn't really need heavy amounts of keywords and quotes and stuff. I love them, as in I enjoy them when they're there, but I don't necessarily need them. Sometimes I just want to see an image and just go intuitively with what the image shows me. So there are many decks I think that this will go beautifully with. Just as I'm talking and I'm going through it, the deck that came to mind was the Rosebud Tarot, which is an indie deck that has now come out mass market. I know it's about to be released in Europe in the next week or so. So I was just thinking the Rosebud Tarot will go beautifully with this one. But I also just want to say that Hello Ivy Lee, that's the handle, Lennox Reese, is making a tarot deck to go with this. So do follow her on the social media platforms if you want to see more of a update on what they are creating and kind of like the trajectory of where that tarot is going. The finish is this linen cardstock. I personally am not a linen girl. I'm just going to say that straight up front. I'm one of those really like spoiled brats when it comes to cardstock, but it's good quality. I mean, the quality is great. It's very good for shuffling, and I think it will hold well. So just show you the backs quickly before I forget. So I think that the cardstock is beautiful. It's just, I'm more of one of those rosebud sticky matte finish girls, which everybody else hates, by the way. Everybody else is like, oh my God, that you can't shuffle those. But anyway, that's just like a side note. It's great cardstock. It's linen. It's beautiful. I think a lot of you will love it. But I really appreciated the collage work, and I think it's a beautiful deck. And yeah, I think it's one of these decks that I realize this is going to go with a lot of stuff. So I'm very, very glad that I did buy it. So I don't want to go through all of it because I think that there's plenty of great walkthroughs. This is really about like getting this deck and realizing I need to pair it, and then the fun that I had with it. So yeah, as soon as I got it, I literally didn't even finish going through all of the deck before I was just like, oh, I need to play with this now with other decks and stuff. And so yeah, I kind of like decided to start pairing it. And the other thing I just want to note about this deck, which I found very interesting, was that, I don't think you've seen these ones, is that this deck for me gives it gives an ancestral vibe, but not kind of like really, like we're not going back like several generations. For me, it gives this vibe of like, some people have mentioned their grandmother, and I think of my grandmother's doilies, because my grandmother had toured Europe before returning back to India. She was actually based most of the time in East Africa, by the way. So my grandmother and Arabian Peninsula. So they lived more between, my grandparents on my mother's side lived more between Oman, Aden, and then Egypt. And then, and so they were less based in India. So my grandmother, and then she toured Europe. And so it kind of reminds me of my grandmother's doilies, to be quite honest, strange but true. But yeah, and so I understand people when they say it really reminds them of their grandparents, and they're more Europe or US based, because yeah, there is a little bit of that touch. But yeah, I just thought it was a very cozy, cute deck, and this is definitely something I would have found in her cabinet. I'm kind of like doing some research into kind of like the things that she liked, because she raised me when I was a baby, but then I didn't have time with her. So I'm kind of like doing some more research into the things that I kind of like don't remember so much these days, but they're still a very important part of my heritage. And yeah, and this reminds me a little bit of that kind of, she had a cabinet of curiosities. She did have one of those cabinets, and this is the kind of thing that I would have found in there. So yeah, I love these images. They're just done so well, and I like the fact that they're just, yeah, there's a depth to them. I don't know how else to put it. Yeah, there's a feeling of, there's a lot going on. I mean, you could really sit with one of these cards and go into it. That's how I feel anyway. So yeah, you can tell I got this and I just started to play with it straight away. So yeah, so that was the Coastal Curiosities second edition. And then comes, well, then what did you do with it? Look at that, look at it. Great to shuffle. Very easy and simple. You know what? This is great for my hands in terms of, because I do suffer from arthritis. This is just great for my hands. It doesn't give them a workout. So I then got and look at the box that was created. I mean, just so pretty. So pretty. And just to give you a very quick flavor, because I think I should do that, is here is, okay, let's get one of these rooted. And let me show you the guidebook, because I have to say the guidebook's been done so beautifully. It says here, circling to join the top without taking a moment to relax and look back down lacks the grasp of judgment. Where do your roots form? Imagine how history absorbs into the consciousness to weave into newly planted plants. I can't believe I was talking about my grandmother and I got rooted. Wow. Your intuition craves encounters to be able to merge into many original harmonies. Invest in yourself and see what makes you you. Is the notion of progressing to the next level uneasy? Take claim of who you are, where you came from. Oh my God, this is my grandmother. And use that to take a leap of chance on each adventure you conquer. And then it says here, the Amanita mushroom roots down and pops up with eye-catching awe and woe, offering an opportunity to refuel. A teapot awaits at the top, eager for visitors. Oak leaves allow for suggested assistance, and a centipede takes the root for clarity as the black flies buzz in a race to be highest. Oh, wow. So really so much thought put into each and every one of the symbols that we see. I just think that's an amazing job. So yeah, so there we go. So I look forward to the tarot. You know, I think it's going to be another stunning deck, and I definitely want it in my collection. So going on from there, let me just show you some pairings, because yeah, like this was Saturday night for me. So the Coastal Curiosities, first one I have to say is I do have the Forager's Daughter Tarot Afterlight Edition. This is made by Jessica Howard. I think it's Jessica Lee Howard. And so you can find, and it's an independent deck. I backed the Kickstarter, which is one of the very few Kickstarters I've backed. So it came with a full guidebook, and it came with a beautiful cicada, kind of like a pendant, or I don't know how else to put it, like a bookmark, but it could be used as a pendant as well, like on a chain. And they came with a beautiful, it just came with, and I have to say that the whole Kickstarter campaign was like, yeah, that's like a leaf in the page of how to do something professional. There's no other way I can put it. It was really well done. So I think that was awesome to have this as a very pleasant Kickstarter experience. It was well worth it. And these are the cards, and I've shown this deck, so I'm not going to go through all of it, but I just want to give you a taste, first of all, of some of the cards that are here, because they just are beautiful. And you know, this is a deck for me that's unique. It's unique, and it's I'm going to just, yeah, spoiler alert, it's like one of my favorite decks. There's dark themes, but with a very curious approach. They're not tragically dark. They're hauntingly dark. There's this border that I feel interweaves with the animals. So the border really just is in harmony with the actual, each and every one of the illustrations. I love the colors, the mutations. I do know that Jessica Lee Howard, hopefully I get this right, is doing a oracle that will go with this. And I do understand also there's a thought of bringing back the Forager's Daughter initial standard first copy as well. I don't know much about that, but I do know an oracle is in the making. So I think that's going to be very exciting anyway. And I'm definitely going to back that one on Kickstarter. That's a no-brainer for me. So yeah, so this has a pippish feel, but I personally don't see this as a pip deck, because I think that this is really like a creature's tarot deck. So unless we have a creature that looks like it's about to fight someone, it has to be done in a different way. And I think that, so I personally don't see this as pippish at all. even though it might look like it sounds a bit strange, but there you go. I love the geometries of this deck. I love the colors again, the mutations of the purples and the yellows. There's so much depth to this deck. The guidebook is fantastic. But let's take a moment to pair this. And then you get the idea of what I was trying to say. Like, I just had to show this. So let me try and bring out a few other cards here. So let's see what happens here when we put these two together. Oops, the other way around. Look at that. That says establish. And that is the High Priestess. Wow. That's beautiful. Oh my God, that looks so gorgeous. So yeah, so when I saw this, I just knew straight away that these two decks are, let me just make sure that I can do this so that I need to put this one this way around and then I can do them. So yeah, so I thought that there was a beautiful blend to this. There we go. Now I can do that properly. Yeah, you can see that I'm not great with showing this in this way. So, but I'm trying. Here we are, mature, and that's the Death card. Wow. I just think that, yeah, I kind of like just sat with them and played with them on Saturday night, as a gal does, on a summer's evening, on a Saturday night. This says pursue, and that says stillness, and look at that. Wow. Now talk about keywords coming together. So yeah, the Forager's Daughter does come with extra cards, which just makes it even better, I think. It's just a fantastic deck. So yeah, and before I forget, these are the backs of the Forager's Daughter as well. So there you go. It's just a stunning deck. I mean, what more can we say? Nurture, and this is 5 of Swords. Wow. So yeah, so that gives you a bit of a flavor of that pairing. And then, I mean, do we stop? Of course we don't stop. So I got that one out, and already my eyes had darted over to the bookshelf because it was like already like I was just like, I know what else to pair this with. So this is a deck that I haven't really shown on the channel, but I've had it for some time, and I think it's because I've just not had the moment where I'm going to work with it, but I love it. It's another indie deck, this time from Europe, from Spain, and it's called Cursedaugeriestarot Tarot Deck. Now the creator is Anasora. I will, because these are indie decks, I will be putting links below, just to note that and I think now everybody's saying it, but it's a given. I don't get sponsored, or I don't get a commission or anything like that. I don't want to go into that, but because I have a whole speech about that whole issue, but I'm not going to go into it because I don't think it's appropriate. I think right now I just want to enjoy these decks and show you how much I love them, because I do. So this is by Anasora. I can't remember how much I paid for it at the time. I don't remember some of these because it was so much time, like 40 euros, I think, including shipping. But I live in the EU, so I don't have, this is within EU purchase, so I don't have the whole tax issue here. Now this deck is just stunning because it's just so evocative. This is a deck that's dark themed, and let me be very clear with you, it's not for the faint-hearted. Yeah, just the pairing is beautiful. And then the only thing is, it's very hard to read the key words on this. This is the King of Swords. Let's see. Impulse. Yeah, this is just divine. So yeah, I kind of like did put them together, and I think that they're magic. So let's have a look at these. These are both linen cardstocks as well, so it works so well together. So this is, 6 of Cups. These tadpoles, and it says lively. I just think this is a great deck. So yeah, so this is a great pairing. But you know, the Cursed Auguries is not for the faint-hearted. It is provocative, I believe, when it comes to death. And while the other decks for me are transformation in terms of death, for me, Cursed Auguries is really life and death. When we have those tender, and of course this is the Three of Wands. It's tender. So yeah, so I just want to say that, yeah, and this is the 3 of Swords, as I thought. These are nails, and it says whisper. So yeah, so I just wanted to show you that and show you how that they are coming together. But wow, this is the star card. So by the way, the Cursed Auguries is a Pippish deck, as you've probably gathered. It says inspire. Wow. Yeah, so just thought that was a beautiful pairing. It's a very, I mean, the Cursed Auguries for me, this says break. Taking a break? And what is this? The Empress. Wow. The Cursed Auguries for me is a very juxtapositioned life and death. It's just, it's prey and the innocence. That's what this deck is for me, Cursed Auguries. So it's a very, I keep coming back to the only way I can put it is, you know, if you feel a bit squeamish, this is not the deck for you. But if you're okay with that, it's stunning. So here we have our Five of Pentacles and it says repair. Yeah. So yeah, I think that there's a lot there that I could do with those decks. And then finally, the final pairing I did, but you can pair all of these together, by the way, is with the Woodlands Wardens. Now, this is a mass market deck by Jessicaroux. So this one is available on Amazon and so forth. And yeah, let's look at some of these pairings and see what we have here. So I personally love the Woodlands Wardens. It's a very mansion, for me it's slightly more mansion rather than cottagey, but I think it goes with that house theme, the not a haunted house, but a very surreal house. I think this deck is just amazing. Now I have spent a month with this particular deck, so I could do a full review on this one. It is animals and herbs coming together. What do we have here? Retreat. Look at that. And these are the backs, by the way, of the Woodlands Wardens. And yeah, I mean, there are other decks, by the way, that come to mind. Like I was thinking of showing the Herb Crafters, but I wanted to stick to a cottage darker, slightly darker encounter. And this is the Weasel and Pine Introspection. Okay, so yes, hopefully you're getting the idea of how well they kind of like just marry. Oh, look at that. The Chipmunk and Laurel. And what do I have here from Coastal Curiosity? Endurance. Wow. And I have to say the guidebook on the Woodlands Wardens is great as well. Beaver and the Batch, Home. What do we have here? Adapt. Wow. So yeah, again, you know, I'm someone that I love putting decks together. It says here robust, and it says here the moth and the eucalyptus, an ending. Yeah, just you can just see that these are just beautiful. So hopefully this is giving you an idea of, you know, just I absolutely love it when I come home with a deck and I've opened it and within like 2 hours I'm kind of like going gaga over pairing it. This is like the joy of tarot for me. This is the joy of, oh my God, like when I read for someone, because I'm someone that when I read for someone, I don't just throw any deck at them. For me, it's really important that the reader is, the querent is also feeling comfortable with the images. For me, it's very important. And you know, I personally, if I feel like a querent, if it's going to be, if they're not comfortable with images, I'm not going to, certain images, I'm not going to like put like the murder of crows in front of them. It's like, no, or the Somni or something. I mean, it's like, no, I'm not going to, I believe readings need to have a harmony between the reader and the querent. And so this deck for me, I think is going to harmonize with a lot of people. So I'm like, yeah, I can really see myself using this so much further than just, of course, with myself playing with it. But I am just so absolutely in love with its charm. And I also have to say that the other decks that I've shown are also my babies, and I love them too. So maybe I need to do separate reviews for each one of them because I think they deserve it. So let me think of that. And if you want to also see, I don't know, the Cursed Auguries Tarot more, it's an interesting deck. It's kind of like a little bit like the loner child on my shelf, I had to be quite honest with you, but I'm a loner, so I'm like, Yeah, I get that deck. That's a tough one. That one I wouldn't pull out with everyone, but I like it. It goes to the spaces that it's not for all, but I love it. But I think that this is a charming deck, Coastal Curiosities, and I just loved pairing with it and playing with it. So I will stop there. Thank you for joining me today if you've made it this far, and I will see you all soon. And the sun has set, the moon is out, we have the crescent out, and yeah, and I can also see Venus not far from it. So yeah, so thank you for joining me today, and I will see you all at the next episode. There will be another video soon because another deck has arrived and I want to open that one too. So anyway, I will see you all soon. Take care now. Bye.